The Roman Colosseum. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this introductory presentation on the Roman Colosseum. Some of you may have already heard of the Colosseum because it is Rome's most recognizable ancient building. Today we're going to tell you a little bit about the history of this famous monument and some of the events that took place within its walls. So, what is the Colosseum? For those of you who have not heard of the Colosseum before, it is a very large arena, also called an amphitheater by the ancient Romans. The Colosseum was built by the Roman Emperor Vespasian as a gift to the people of Rome, who had recently suffered a couple years of civil war caused by the fall of the bad Emperor Nero. Peace had been restored to Rome thanks to the Emperor Vespasian, and he felt it was time for the people to watch exciting entertainments and to have fun. The Colosseum was so massive it took 10 years to build. Construction began in the year 70 CE under Vespasian and was completed in 80 CE under the rule of his son, the Emperor Titus. Amphitheaters had already been around for around 200 years by the time the Colosseum was built, and they could be found in all parts of the empire from Africa to Asia to Spain. Amphitheaters were generally round or oval buildings with many levels of seating to seat hundreds or even thousands of spectators. They were open to the sky, but could sometimes have canopies, kind of like sails on a ship, that could be extended from the highest seating level and provided people with some shade from the hot sun. How many of you find the shape and design of this building familiar? That's because many of our sports stadiums and arenas have borrowed their designs from ancient Roman ones. Did you know that the very first amphitheaters were temporary structures made of wood? During the time of the Roman Republic, before the rule of the emperors, temporary wooden seating was set up to hold games, often in places like the Roman Forum, where major religious and political buildings were located. As the games became more popular, permanent structures were needed. The Romans used stones, like travertine and marble, as well as concrete, which allowed the Romans to build massive structures with many levels like the Colosseum. Wood was used as scaffolding during construction, but was still used from time to time for temporary structures. Here's a picture of what the inside of the Colosseum looks like today. Much of what this magnificent building once was is now missing, including the floor, which allows us to see the various rooms and passages where the fighters and animals were kept underneath the floor. There were many different types of entertainments held in the amphitheater. Perhaps the most popular were the gladiator fights, which were one-on-one fights or fights between several gladiators, often to the death. Beast hunts were also popular, which pitted gladiators against exotic wild animals from all over the Roman Empire. Only on very special occasions were naval battles held, which required the floor of the Colosseum to be flooded with water to hold small ships. Many of these naval battles recreated some of Rome's most famous sea victories, giving people a chance to learn and witness the history of their great city and empire for themselves. It is important to note that many of the gladiators who fought in the arena were slaves, prisoners of war, or criminals. Despite this, some gladiators who were successful became very famous. There were many different types of gladiators who fought in the games of the arena, but we only have time to go through a couple of them here. Our first star of the arena is the retiarius. This gladiator was equipped to be light and fast, which is why his only equipment was a net, a trident, or gladius, a short sword, and a galeras, a bronze shoulder plate. Perhaps the most popular type of gladiator was the murmillo. This gladiator was meant to be a mighty force in the arena, and he was equipped with a helmet with visor, a long rectangular shield called a scutum, and a gladius. To make the fights more interesting and entertaining, the retiarius and the murmillo were often made to fight each other. While the retiarius was fast, the murmillo was slower but better protected with his shield and helmet. As mentioned, animals were also a big part of the games. The animals hunted in the arena included lions, bears, and elephants. Sadly, many people and animals died in the Colosseum for the entertainment of the crowds. Did you know that women could fight as gladiators too? While exceedingly rare, on occasion women, who were also slaves, were made to fight in the arena, probably as a means to make the fights different and more interesting from time to time. Here are some fun facts about the Colosseum in Rome. Fun fact 1. The Roman Colosseum was able to accommodate up to 50,000 people, but some argue that up to 80,000 could be packed in if standing. To compare, SaskTel Center in Saskatoon can hold up to 15,195 people, while Mosaic Stadium in Regina can hold up to 33,350 people. By today's standards, the Colosseum is still considered to be a massive and impressive structure. Fun fact 2. As gifts to the people and to gain their favor, the emperors would give out bread at the games. Fun fact 3. The Roman Emperor Titus, son of the Emperor Vespasian who started building the Colosseum, dedicated the building and issued coins to celebrate the opening. Fun fact 4. With the rise of Christianity, the games were seen as being too cruel, so they were gradually phased out and ended by the mid-5th century CE. Fun fact 5. The Colosseum gets its name from a huge bronze statue of the sun god Sol, dubbed the Colossus, that once stood in front of the Colosseum. Originally, the Colosseum was known as the Flavian Amphitheater, after the Flavian dynasty that built it. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to this presentation. We hope that you will check out our other presentations throughout Ancient and Medieval Adventures Online. Thank you.